Hello, this is Coach Tim Campbell, and I'm your host for Self-Made is a Myth, Make a Difference Together show, where we're talking with successful business owners to hear their story of the journey to building their business. And because we know that achieving success in business is not something that we can do on our own, we recognize the folks that helped us to excel. Today, I'm excited to have a fellow business owner from Indiana with us today. My guest was adopted at the age of 15, and his last name changed from No to Boller. He loves to fix or accomplish tasks that he can look back on and feel pride. And he is most proud of his daughter, Jasmine, and granddaughter, Rose, who is almost 7 months old. Please join me in welcoming Jeff to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much, Tim.
Awesome, Jeff. Well, let's start with having you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit of your backstory, your personal story of where you were born, where you live, your family, and some of your hobbies.
Sure. So I'm from the East Coast. I was born in West Virginia, and my father would say West by God, Virginia. But I spent most of my childhood in Maryland. That's where my mom's family was from. My mom and dad got divorced at an early age when I was 5. And so spent most of my time in Maryland. And when I graduated, I had intended to go to the University of Maryland, but my parents changed things up on me and moved to South Carolina. And I went to, did a couple of years in Florida at a small junior college, and then transferred to University of Maryland, only to then transfer to the University of South Carolina after I went and saw them during a summer and fell in love with South Carolina. And then I got stuck in the South for a while. But when I was in college, I did a internship with IBM. And it propelled me into my career in the tech industry for over 25 years. And then when I moved to Indiana from Chicago, I decided to take on a new career in real estate, primarily because my mom was a broker when I was growing up, and I've always loved real estate, always thought it was a great industry to be in. And so I moved to Indiana and started from scratch, started from nothing. I didn't know anybody when I moved to Carmel. And so it was kind of harrowing, but I started out, part-time, and then grew the business until I felt comfortable in going out on my own in 2016. And that's when I started Vision One, and the rest is history. But so I have a wife. I've been married for over 15 years. She's from Chicago. That's where we met. She has 2 children of her own. I have a child of my own, so we're a blended family. Nice. But my oldest is our daughter, who just had our granddaughter. And then I have 2 sons, one who is 22 that is starting a career in the trucking industry. And then I have a son who is 19 who is starting a career in tech. And so, and then my hobbies, I love to snow ski. So I try to go at least once a year. I used to live in Denver, and so I love to snow ski. I also like to play golf, but I'm not very good at it. But it's nice to get out and be part of nature. And then, I always have a honey-do list, and so I'm always tinkering around the house.
Yeah, awesome. So something unique about you is that you were adopted at 15. Tell us a little bit more of that story.
So my parents, my biological parents, divorced when I was 5, and so I had a interesting childhood. It was rough. My mom, had a few partners along the way. And then her last husband, who is my adopted dad, came along, and my biological dad hadn't been in the picture for quite some time. And I think it's very important for you to have a strong mother and father figure. I think that really helps you make a good person. And so my adopted dad came to me after a couple of years and asked me if I wanted to be adopted, and I thought about it for a long time. And I even reached out to my biological dad and asked him if that would be okay, and he said, if that's what you want. Long story short, he's still around today and has provided me a lot of influence and helped me to become who I am.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, is there a funny story that your family likes to tell about you that you'd be willing to share with us today?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of funny stories. Good Lord, this is life is laughter, right? So if you can't laugh at yourself, then I think that's unfortunate. You should always be. So I'd say one of our funniest stories is when the kids were younger, and I'd say they were 8 and 12, and we were on our way to Chicago to go see family, and we had some bad weather the night before, but and it was like in that April timeframe when Indiana weather is crazy. And so we were on our way, and evidently there was some black ice around. And so we were being careful, and we were coming to a stop sign, and our SUV that we were in did a 360 2 times in the middle of the road, right? And I'm just like holding on, like, oh my gosh, right? And so we get stopped, and I look back at the kids and I'm like, are you all right? And they're like, that was awesome. Can we do it again? And I'm like, no. And so my wife and I are just looking at each other. We're like panicked, right? We're like, did that just happen? And the kids loved it. They thought they were on the ride of their life. So
nice. Yeah. So clearly it didn't frighten them.
No. And they, I've always encouraged them to, a little bit live on the edge, right? I started them skiing when they were 5 and 8, and so they grew up trying to, always be brave and take chances, and do things that are outside of maybe what you think you can do. Right?
Yeah. Awesome. So Jeff, tell us about, so you gave a little bit of background on how the business started, but how did it come about? At what point did you have the confidence that you could go out on your own and run your own business?
Well, I think a lot of it is, over time you gain that confidence, right? So time, gives you confidence, I believe. Experience gives you confidence. But I started out with Coldwell Banker in 2005. And like I said, I didn't know anybody here. I had one friend that I found out was living here only after the fact that I moved here. I just really, you talk about the grind. I ground for a long time. Or grinded, however you want to say it, for a long time. But it was 2 key people that really helped me out in the real estate world. One was Craig Kaiser, who was he was the broker, the owner of Coldwell Banker Kaiser, still is the owner of Coldwell Banker Kaiser. He helped give me a lot of that framework of the things that the foundation. And then Kyle Dixon, who was the owner of the team that I became a part of after a couple of years of being at Coldwell Banker Kaiser. He was the person that really took it to the next level. And so certainly I was ready a lot sooner. The recession in 2008 really hurt a lot of people, but I was so young in my career in real estate that I think it really helped me in a lot of ways. And so, when I got to 2016, it was time. My father had passed in 15. He had, left me some money. My wife had just finished her nursing degree in 2015. And so I felt like it was time. I felt like I was ready. I talked to a lot of people about, how to go about it. My broker at Coldwell Banker Kaiser was very supportive. He didn't get angry that I was leaving. He encouraged that. He said, "Hey, I started a business, I encourage everybody to do that." So I thought that was, really nice, a nice way of, entering into the business, that I had all this encouragement and I had all this support. So there you
Awesome.
go.
Fantastic. So let's spend some time. Tell us more specifically about your company.
So 2016, I started with myself and an assistant, and I got her licensed, right away in that first year. We started, the business, and became, licensed and all that. And then we had an office downtown Westfield. Started with that, and then I brought on my first agent in 2016. And since then, I've had some agents come and I've had some agents leave. My first agent has stayed with me, and she is full time, and she's done incredible. Her name is Christy Huntwork, and then I've brought on other agents. We're up to 7 people now, and I had 3 new agents join this year, and one is a commercial agent focused specifically on commercial real estate. And then I have another couple other people that are actually part of Christy's team, because now Christy is starting to build her business.
Awesome.
And so my desire really to do this is I didn't want to become a Keller Williams or a Coldwell Banker or whatever. I wanted to start a business that could enable people to build that dream for themselves, to build a business for themselves, something that was low barrier to entry, something that where I could help support them, where I could help coach them, right, and give them the tools that they needed in order to build something of their own. And so that's the one thing that I really love about real estate is this is all what you put into it, what you make of it. It is totally 100% what it can be whatever you want it to be.
Awesome. So the name Vision One, is there a background to that?
So I try to have a client appreciation party every year. Ours is coming up in June this year, and the pandemic kind of hurt that. So we haven't had one for a couple of years, but so we're going to restart it in 2022. Well, in 2015, I had a client appreciation party, and I invited all my clients, and I came up with 4 names, and I put them on a paper, and I told everybody, vote, the best name, and you'll be put into a drawing, and you'll win some fantastic prize. I don't even know what that is. Basically all my clients thought Vision One was great. So I had 4 names. They all were, that Vision One was not the company name that I had come up with. I had come up with Servanthood Realty, and so that was the company name that so I believe in Jesus Christ, and I believe that we're should be a servant, in this world, and that we should serve others. And so that's where I came up with Servanthood Realty, but everybody else chose Vision One, and so it just stuck. Yeah. And so that's kind of what I went with.
Awesome. So you just alluded to it a little bit in terms of servanthood. What differentiates you from other folks? Why do people enjoy working with your company?
I do believe that our goal on this earth should be to love one another. I don't always practice that. I'm, just as bad as anybody else. I stumble, I fall, I pick myself back up. But I'm very community service oriented. So I spend a lot of time in my community here in Westfield trying to make it better. I'm involved in politics, which can be unsavory at times. I don't like politics. The whole political structure sometimes really does not appeal to me at all, but it's a way to give back to the community. I'm involved in a lot of different community efforts with my church, and then supporting local, community initiatives, whether it's around the school or student impact or heart and soul clinic or the Lions Club. I'm a member of the Westfield Lions Club. So I try to do as much as I can to make our community better. And that's really where, and I take that to my business. So I'm trying to, my whole goal is to make sure that my clients are taken care of. And so I'm very client centric. I will do whatever it takes to make sure that my clients' best interests are taken care of. I've even had sellers get mad at me before because I've represented my buyer correctly. And so to me, I find that, hey, that's a win. I did something right. I mean, my goal was not to help you sell your house. My goal was to help my buyers and their best, and keep their best interests and make sure that they were protected. So, right. Yeah. That's where I drive that home. I'm very good at doing a lot of other things, like negotiation is one of my key strengths, because I was in business for a long time. And so I know how to negotiate and make it most of the time, win for everybody, because that's the ultimate goal. Right. I don't like to have it be one-sided, but certainly my goal is my client, and whatever I need to do to make sure that they are protected, that's what I'll do.
Awesome. So Jeff, tell us a story where someone pushed you or inspired you that you could do it, and the impact that they had on you.
Yeah, I would say when I was just coming out of college, I had this great internship with IBM. And then when I graduated, IBM had its first round of layoffs ever in the history of the company. So my goal was, I thought, I was going to graduate, and work for IBM forever, right? That's what people in prior to me had done. They had worked for these companies, these big companies, for a long time, and I thought that was the goal for me. Well, I couldn't buy a job with IBM at that time. I tried I actually had a job lined up, and right before I was supposed to go for the final interview, that news came out, and they nixed all the jobs. And so I had to start looking around, and I looked at an IBM business partner company named Info Systems that was based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And there was a gentleman that worked there, and his name was Bob Cardoni. And Bob said, if you want to be successful in this business, you have to learn about manufacturing, because their business was based around helping manufacturing companies be more, be successful and streamline the process and really be more successful by being more client, satisfaction driven, and have lower inventories and higher turnover and blah blah blah. And so I was like, well, I don't know anything about manufacturing. This guy fed me all the stuff. I mean, he gave me, here's what you need to focus on, and really sat down and helped me become this expert. And really, he did such a good job of motivating me and helping me understand, hey, if you can do this, you can be an expert. And he really was the catapult for me being successful in my industry in the tech industry for 25 plus years. And so having that foundation was key.
Isn't it amazing how some people are just so willing to give of themselves to help others? That's awesome.
Well, and that was something that I took from a very early age, and I thought, I'm going to do that. I'm going to continue to give back. And I try to do that as much as I possibly can, because I think it's so important. And that's why I started this business. I want to do the same thing for my agents. I want my agents to be as successful as I've been.
And isn't it also that when we help others, yes, we help them, but we get a tremendous amount of fulfillment from it as well.
Absolutely. Yes.
I have folks who will be worried about asking somebody, right, for a coffee meeting or, a sharing session. And they're like, no, you don't understand. Like people enjoy the opportunity to pass on their knowledge and their wisdom, and right, sure, and know that they're helping another, business owner. So.
Right. And what comes around goes around. Right. I mean, a lot of times when I meet with somebody, I identify things that I hadn't thought about before that either I can add to my business or I can change my processes to accommodate something that, I hadn't thought about. So I'm always learning. That's my whole thing. I do not know it all. There's way too much information out there for me to try to figure out, so.
Awesome. So to that point, what is your biggest learning as a business owner?
I think the biggest thing that for me is to get out of my own way. A lot of times, I still get upset when I don't do something right, and I have to remember that I don't know everything and that it is a learning process. And my whole thing is I want to make sure that I learn from my failures, that, obviously I don't want to continue to repeat the same things that the same failures over and over again. Yeah. And so learning from that is very key for me. Part of my thing that I always have to remember is to slow down, right? because I'm always moving so quickly and I've always got so much stuff going on. And it's very important to just slow down and not make rash decisions
Yes.
without thinking about how that impacts everything else.
Yeah.
And so it's so hard to do sometimes. But if you're going to make a major decision and it's going to impact either, your life or your pocketbook or whatever, you need to slow down,
Yeah.
think about that, and then make a decision after you've had some time
Yes.
to, and maybe seek some counsel, right? It's always good to seek counsel. I know a lot of people, like you said, don't want to do that because they're afraid, oh, everybody's busy. No, you have some key people. Everybody has key people that will take the time to, listen to what you have to say.
I really like your thought about, that everything is a learning experience. So our founder, he has this phrase that he says, I've never failed. I either succeed or I learn. And I think that's just an amazing perspective, because like you shared, I can get myself stuck in oh, that was a mistake, or that was an error, or that I failed there, and then get caught up in that, versus remembering that this whole journey through life and through business is about, learning and growing and adapting and becoming better versions of ourselves, right?
That is correct. Yes. And you have to adapt. It's just like right now, we are in the biggest, and I've even talked to Craig at Coldwell Banker. He's never seen a market like we're in today, where there's low inventory and the prices of homes have just skyrocketed. And it's just incredible. And, how do you deal with that? Nobody's ever seen it. So what do you do? How do you adapt to that? It's so crucial to be able to keep an open mind and not be so closed, and think outside the box, right?
Yes. And don't, I love your the word adapt. Don't allow the current circumstances to paralyze us, right? And just, stick our head in the sand and say, there's nothing I can do. There's always something we can do. It's just a matter of figuring out what that adaptation is, right?
Right. And sometimes we don't want to do what is necessary because it's painful, right? I mean, change most of the time is painful. It's, you're taking yourself out of your normal routine and something that you're comfortable with, and you're like, doing something different.
Yes. We all love our comfort zone, but everything that we want out of life and everything that we want in our business is on the other side of our comfort zone.
Right. That's right. That's exactly right.
So Jeff, we know that business success doesn't happen in isolation. So tell us about your biggest business challenge over the years and a fellow business owner who helped you get through that.
Yeah, I would say that certainly right now is definitely one of those challenges. COVID was very good to the real estate community, primarily because we were one of those businesses that was considered, essential. And so our business pretty much it continued on. It did transform itself. I mean, we had to wear masks and bring, hand sanitizer, but we still had open houses. We just could have one party through at a time. I mean, things changed, but not necessarily. But with this current environment, there's a huge change coming. We have a lot of companies right now that are trying to take advantage of the marketplace, and Zillow tried it. We have companies like Open Door and Open. I think it's Open Door. There are people out there that are offering cash for homes, and you don't have to do anything. You don't need a realtor. They say you don't need a realtor. But so we're having to adapt to that. We're having to figure out, well, how do we compete in that environment? What is our value proposition? They're trying to diminish it. Well, how do we prop it up? How do we show people you do still need a professional to guide you in this decision that is going to be the most is going to be the largest financial transaction of most people's life.
Yes.
So today I would say is one of the most challenging. I would say the other time in my career that was the most challenging was when the recession happened. And you went from everybody wanting a home to nobody wanting a home, right? And so we had to shift gears. And when we did that, I really relied on Kyle Dixon, who was the team owner, to help me transition into that world, because I didn't really know how to do that. I was selling to people that needed a home, and now there were all these foreclosures on the market, and nobody wanted to buy. And so, how did I do that? And Kyle was really fundamental in helping me shift from, going from families to investors, and helping me transition into taking advantage of the foreclosure market. Unfortunately, I hated to do that, but people still had to buy those houses.
Right.
And so it really helped me elevate my business, because there were still people out there that had to move for various reasons. But helping me get into that investor community helped me elevate my business and survive that recession and actually thrive. I would say my business went up dramatically over those from 2008 to 2011. I sold tons of bank foreclosures and became an expert. And so when people, wanted to invest, I was, able to guide them and make that process seamless and easy for them.
That's awesome. So it's just kind of the nature of what we're talking about here is, it's so important to have those people in your court, right? That you can reach out to and get that guidance and direction from, so that we don't stay paralyzed in the unknown.
Right. That's exactly right.
So Jeff, if I was to ask you to pick 3 people in your business owner journey that you're most grateful for them being there and helping with your growth, who are those 3 people and how they help you?
Yeah. So I would say, first, my mom was a broker when I was growing up. And so her input as I was deciding to be, to change, my career was very impactful. So I would say, first and foremost, she really helped me, give me the guidance to, to tell me what I needed to do. And
awesome.
And then I would say,
and what mom's name?
Oh, my mom. Well, she passed, unfortunately, in 2020. But her name was Sandy, or Florence Boller, and but everybody knew her as Sandy. She had red hair, and so she was a Spitfire for sure.
Awesome.
So, and then the 2 other people that I would say were really Craig Kaiser, who was my broker at Coldwell Banker, and then Kyle Dixon. I still talk to him today. I still talk to Craig anytime I need, help. If there's something that I don't understand or I need some input on, I mean, he's a broker just like I am, and he's an owner just like I am. And so I think it's very key to have that um, group of people that you can rely on. Certainly, there were some other people in my old career, in my tech career, that were very influential. But those are the three people in my real estate career that have guided me the most. So
awesome. So as you
yeah.
think about the next 3 to 5 years, Jeff, and some of the biggest challenges that you're going to face to reach your goals, who are the types of people that you're going to need to help you solve those challenges?
Yeah, I would say really people that from different aspects. I mean, one of the things that I don't like to get caught up in just talking to real estate people, because there are other people out there, in the real estate than just in the real estate. And so if you become myopic, if you just focus on one industry, it narrows your view. And so certainly I think it's important to have focus, but one of my things, so when I'm involved in the community, it helps me twofold. One, it helps me be involved in my community and help me serve. But then two, I am I'm networking with other people from other industries that I can use that information and see if it'll fit in my industry. And I think it's just good to expose yourself to as much information as you possibly can. I know sometimes it becomes information overload. And I certainly get to that point where I have to shut down, right? We all need times where we can shut down, but I think that exposure, it's very important for you to have that exposure.
Yeah, awesome. So speaking of exposing ourselves to others, Jim Rohn, one of my favorite authors, a quote of his is, "We become the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with." So as you think about that, is that something you find exciting or something that makes you nervous from a business standpoint?
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I mean, certainly, I spend a lot of time with my family. And I think that's key. And I think that should put God, family, your business, that should be the hierarchy. And so those are the 3 most important people, in my life and in my business. I think that's exciting because I'm constantly learning from those people. And I think if you're not constantly learning from the people that you spend the most time with, then you should find more different people.
Yes.
You should find people that stretch you. Find people that you're not just comfortable with, right? Do new things. Lord, I've tried all kinds of things over time. I've been in golf leagues. I did the Westfield Citizens Academy, which was awesome, because you can shoot a gun. And you can drive a police car very fast, through some obstacle course, through an obstacle course. So and you get to see people tased, which you don't get to see that too often, right? So I mean, there's a lot of things in our community that we can expose ourselves to, and we just need to keep reaching out there. I think a lot of us, unfortunately, we get comfortable, and we like that because you get wrapped up in that. I think you should always continue to look for opportunities to expose yourself to new opportunities.
I share with people often that, it doesn't have to be a physical person, right? It could be a book we read or a video that we watch, right? Or a conference that we go to that, it's still giving us that learning and that different perspective. And if we find an author like a Jim Rohn that we resonate with and we like then read more of his books, right? That can be one of our people, and we're not confined to physical people.
Right. And if if TikTok's your thing and you like to make TikTok videos, go make some TikTok videos.
Right.
They're entertaining for people. So, use that as an opportunity to do something different. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Jeff, last question here. If there was something catastrophic that happened to your business, who's the first person you'd call and what would that conversation be?
Yeah. I think for me, it would be my brother-in-law. I have been blessed to have my wife's sister marry a man who Blake McCright is his name, and he started a business really to as a way to invest in real estate. He started business and coaching. He was doing presentations for a friend of his and learning in the business of how to buy homes and get them rented and sell them to investors. And now he buys homes and predominantly just flips them. Right. So he's got a team of people that he works with, and he's been very, very successful. And this model that he's followed, anybody could follow, right? I could follow it, you could follow it, anybody could follow it. But he has he's embodied that model. And it's really, just like anything, when you do something in life, it's easier to do it if you have a process, right? And then following that process is the more difficult part. Yeah. Putting in the time to say, I'm going to cold call, 1 hour a day, right? Or I'm going to follow up with 10 of my previous clients each and every day. Or I'm going to start off, reading the Bible 30 minutes of my day. All that just takes resilience, right? It takes, you have to make a commitment. And so for me, I would call him immediately to ask him, one, could he help me? Because I know he would. Two, I know he would say absolutely. Yeah. And then two, I think he has that background that he can offer up motivation. He can offer up strength. He can offer, whatever I need. Yeah. Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, you've been blessed with some incredible people in your journey that have helped you along the way. If they were all on the show here today, what would you want to say to them?
I would want to say thank you so much for believing in me and trusting me and, giving me the ability to work with you, because it has truly been a blessing.
That's awesome. Jeff, such a pleasure to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome, and continued success in all your business, Tim.
Thank you so much. To everyone who tuned in, thanks for listening to the Self-Made is a Myth show with your host, Coach Tim Campsell. Be sure to help us spread this movement by liking the show and posting about it on social media. To join our movement, go to bemadtogether.com. Okay, folks, that's a wrap. Make sure to pay it forward, and we'll see you all next time. Take care.
Bye-bye.